Satnam Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another program in our continuing series called Your Miracle Mantra Moment. And today we will be starting out as usual by chanting the shabad, Dhan Dhan Das Guru Jin Siriyatine Savarya. And someone will in a minute probably put those words in the comments area. And for those of you who are new to this program, we always start out by doing this chanting of the shabad. Thank you, Kirandeep Kaur. And I got your message, by the way, Kirandeep, and great suggestion. And so thank you for that communication. So, for those of you who may be joining us after this has been recorded, I just want to let you know that we recommend that you can do this in a few different ways. You can simply sit with your spine straight and meditate on the words as we chant them for the shabad, or you can chant along with the words. Eyes open, eyes closed, whatever you need to do. If you don't need to have your eyes open, then feel free to close them. It will help you focus more deeply in your meditative experience. And then the third way to do this is as a more formalized meditation. It's called the meditation to remove fear of the future. And at this time, that's particularly appropriate because many of us are feeling anxious about what's happening with COVID-19, the economy, whatever other concerns you might have globally or domestically in whatever country you reside in. It's clear that many of us are struggling on some levels with feeling anxious, feeling concerned. So this meditation can be very helpful to you. And it involves the using of a mudra, which is a hand position coming from the yogic tradition to help focus the energy, in this case, to releasing those anxieties and fears. So the mudra is with your right thumb straight up and your left hand wrapped around that thumb like a gentle fist, and then the right fingers come up along the back of your left hand, and again, just gently placed there. And you hold that at your heart center, at the center of the chest, and your elbows are gently relaxed at your side. And you can have your eyes open if you need to refer to the words, or best practice would be to have your eyes only 1/10 open and focus down at the tip of your nose. So, feel free to choose whichever way you want to do this, and we're going to start the chanting now. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. So, welcome to all of you who have joined us during the chanting time. And so many of you are regulars, it's hardly worth calling out your names. We all know who you are, and so grateful that you're here with us. I want to just give the heads up that I'm going to be talking about a shabad, and it is a well-known shabad by the line Raj Jog Takhtadiyan Guru Ram Das, and it's on Ang, or page number 1399. So I imagine Kirandeep will be able to get that up for us in just a moment, and so grateful for her seva to do that. So I want to just take a few minutes to talk about this shabad, and then I'll play it. It's a short shabad, and it's one that is, as I say, quite well known, played every day at the Harimandir Sahib, the Golden Temple in India. And this is, we've been talking over the last several weeks about different shabads, and you know, there's Bani that is from the Gurus, and then there's Bani that is from the Bhagats, who were poets, spiritual poets, mystical poets, who lived mostly prior to or somewhat at the same time as Guru Nanak. But then we have a group of compositions that are included in the Sri Guru Granth Sahib that are called Bhat Bani. And these are scholars, poets, who lived actually during the time of the Gurus, mainly in the time of Guru Ram Das and Guru Arjan. And they would have attended the darbar, you know, the gathering with both Guru Ram Das and Guru Arjan. And this was an interesting time, you know, for the evolution of the community, because after Guru Ram Das's, no, I should go back further. So Guru Amar Das, the third Guru, was located mainly in Goindwal at the end of his life. And so he directed young Ram Das to go and find another place to establish. And that place that he established became initially known as Ramdaspur, the place of Ram Das. But later, the name got changed to Amritsar. And so in the time of the guruship of Guru Ram Das, then the community was mainly based in there, in that area of what we now call Amritsar. But it was just starting. The community was just getting established. And then when Guru Ram Das passed away, the the throne of the Guru was somewhat disputed for a short period, where Priti Chand, who was the eldest son of Guru Ram Das, made a claim to that position of being Guru. And Guru Arjan had not yet been fully recognized by the Sangat as being the rightful heir to that guruship. And so in the early days there was some confusion, but slowly then it became clear that, thank you, Kirandeep, it became clear that the guruship was actually held by Guru Arjan. And so in that time, it was a time for a little uncertainty and confusion, which is kind of like similar to what we may be experiencing now. Some confusion, some anxiety about how are we moving forward. And, I'll just touch on this topic very slightly, but in the world of Kundalini Yoga, the reputation of Yogi Bhajan has been called into question. And so there are a lot of people trying to figure out, well, how to move forward. So in that way, much of our community may be also in that anxiety and not clear where to go, how to move forward, as in the time when Guru Arjan was first established as Guru. Anyway, so the Bani that was created by these scholars and poets, the Bhatts, from that time of Guru Ram Das and Guru Arjan, they were writing about the Gurus. They were capturing aspects of the teachings that were being both lived and talked about in the court, in the darbar of the Gurus. And so this composition is like that. It starts out and it talks about Guru Nanak, then Guru Angad, and Guru Amar Das, and Guru Ram Das. So it's following that kind of methodology of having something to say in praise of each of those first four Gurus. But there is a further historical story that is connected to the last line. So I'll tell you about the story after we've gone through the lines a little bit, and then when I get to that last line, I'll elucidate the story around that last line. So in the first line, the writer, whose name was Nal, his name is Bhatt Nal, N-A-L, and he says, Pritame Nanak Chand, Jagat Beo Anand, Dharananuk Jana Kyo Pargas. And he's saying, Guru Nanak, Pritame, meaning first. The first Guru Nanak, he illuminated the world with his reflection just like the moon. Chand is moon. And this is a metaphorical teaching that that isn't just about understanding Guru Nanak, although here that's what is being said. This idea of reflecting the light of the sun, the way the moon does, is the idea of each of us are reflecting the light of the divine. It's the same divine, it's the same light that's being reflected from you and me and every other person. And that's how we are connected, through the oneness of that reflecting of the one, the divine. And so there's a teaching where if you take 20 glasses of water and put them out in the moonlight, you'll be able to see the reflection of the moon in every one of them. And that's the same kind of idea, that each of us is like a glass and that we're reflecting that. And so here, true, true to the spirit of that teaching, they're saying that Guru Nanak was the moon, was reflecting the sun's brightness. And they are saying that this also filled the world with bliss, and that by doing so, Guru Nanak served humanity to carry them across. And last week we referred to this ocean, terrible world ocean, in the shabad that we talked about last week. And so here again, this is the idea that there is a journey in life, and that Guru Nanak was helping people to get across that journey through life, and that he bestowed that radiance from his reflection of the sun, of the one, of the divine. That's the first line. Second line, he talks about Guru Angad. He says, Guru Angad Dio Nidan, Akata Kata Gyan, Panchabhut Bas Kine Jamatana Taras. So here the writer is saying the divine has blessed Guru Angad with the treasure of spiritual wisdom, Gyan, and the unspoken speech. He overcame the 5 demons. That would be Panchabhut. The 5 demons are this idea of lust, anger, greed, pride, and attachment. These are the things that get in the way of our spiritual progress. And so it's the writer here saying that Guru Nanak was elevated beyond those 5 demons, and that by doing so, then Guru Angad also had no fear of death, right? The messenger of death, or the idea that death would be a frightening transition, illuminated in such a way to see beyond and understand the continuance of life throughout the human and beyond. So in the third line, the writer goes on to say, now speaking about Guru Amar Das, the third Guru, Guru Amar Guru Sirisat Kalajug Rakipat Aganadekat Gat Chalana Kavalajas. So here he's talking about the Dark Age, Kali Yuga. So great Guru Amar Das has been given the honor and preserved. His honor has been preserved and taken care of by the divine through the Dark Age. And that seeing the lotus feet, then transgressions, missteps are destroyed. So those of us who get a chance to acknowledge the divinity, the divine presence in Guru Amar Das, then all of our transgressions are erased, are released. And then finally, in the fourth line, the writer says, and now talking about Guru Ram Das, Sab Vidamanyo Mana Tab Hibeo Prasanna Raj Jog Takadadiyan Guru Ram Das. And so he's saying, when his mind, now this is not a very good translation, I think, but when the divine was satisfied in every way with Guru Ram Das, and he was totally content with Guru Ram Das's elevated spirit, then he bestowed upon Guru Ram Das the throne of Raj Yoga. So this is where the story comes in that I wanted to tell you about a little bit. And it involves the eldest son of Guru Nanak, whose name was Baba Siri Chand. And Guru Nanak had 2 sons, but neither of them became the next Guru. Instead, Guru Nanak chose a devotee by Angad, who then became the second Guru, Guru Angad. And some people were confused by that because it's normal in a Eastern tradition that the eldest son would be the one that inherits, land, business, and authority or lineage. But Guru Nanak did not go in that direction. And in fact, at an early age, Baba Siri Chand, the eldest son, had really established his own path. He had not followed his father completely, although he embraced the writings of his father, the teachings of his father in many ways, but he was also very much a devout yogi and embraced the idea of renunciation, renouncing worldly pleasures, worldly endeavors. So he didn't pursue a job, a career, a business. He didn't embrace the householder life of getting married and having family. So he was celibate and a sadhu. He owned no property. He traveled very much throughout India. And he started a tradition of his own called the Udasis. And so he was such a refined yogi in his practices and discipline from an early age that he never aged much. People say that he never looked older than about 12 years old, meaning I guess he never had facial hair. He had a kind of bluish hue to his skin, which is reminiscent of the mythological stories of Krishna. And he also lived a very long time. Now, exactly how long is hard to establish. There are almost as many different numbers as there are historians. Each one points to a slightly different reference. But we're pretty clear he lived more than 100 years. He may have lived as much as 150 years. So this was a very, very exceptional human being, very elevated consciousness. And so the history of Baba Siri Chand does come back and entwine with the history of the Sikh Gurus. And that's, that's a whole series of books in of itself. But I'm just going to relate this one story because it touches on this line of the shabad. And that is that during the time of Guru Ram Das, there were always detractors, people who would try to diminish the reputation of the gurus. And then there were people who extolled the value, the deep spirituality in these unique human beings, the gurus. And so Baba Siri Chand had heard stories about the gurus as they had continued on past his father, but he had not he had not made much effort to interact. But he heard about Guru Ram Das, and it started to make an impression on him. So he decided to meet with Guru Ram Das. Now, these are stories that are not very easy to verify in terms of how historically accurate they may be. So this story is told in different ways by different people, and I'm trying to sort of keep it a little narrow in terms of not elaborating with too much fanciful guesswork, because there is much about this story that is not really known for sure. But in any case, they met. And the story goes that Guru Nanak had given Baba Siri Chand the task to try um, to rein in some of the more destructive behaviors of many of the other groups of sadhus and yogis around. And at that time, sometimes the yogis, if they practiced for a long time, they'd get particular siddhas, which are called powers, and they could control water, they could control where their body moved and appeared. And if you want to know more about that, I suggest you read the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Ananda Yogi. And they had a bad reputation. They were distrusted by people generally. You would think the opposite, right? That these were such holy people that they would be so revered. But in some cases, these yogis would use these powers to benefit themselves, to impress people, to scare people into giving alms. If you don't give, then I might do something that could hurt your crops or something. So Baba Siri Chand's task, apparently, was to try to rationalize all the different groups of yogis and bring them to a point where they could see that what they needed to do is participate in life enough that they could help those other people around them, not scare them, not intimidate them, right? Whether Baba Siri Chand was successful at that, I have not found any evidence. Whether he could really be said to be a representative of all those groups, even harder to know. What can be said is that he had a very impressive reputation throughout India. He was known far and wide, and that people did defer to him as having some authority in regard to the yogis and sadhus. Whether that really amounted to them following what he said, we don't know. But in any case, it is implied in this story that somehow he was successful in trying to bring the schools of yoga throughout India together. And that by going to see Guru Ram Das and then acknowledging Guru Ram Das as being so spiritually elevated that Baba Siri Chand declared that he now sat upon the throne of Raj Yoga, which is where this line comes from, Raj Yoga Takti and Guru Ram Das. That if that is the case, then there was no real throne, there was no chair, there was no place that could be said, well, whoever sits there must be the Raj, the king of all the yogas. That's not what is really being said here. But really what's being implied is that Baba Siri Chand was so humbled and so impressed by the spiritual depth of Guru Ram Das that he said that if there was such a throne, surely Guru Ram Das would be on it, because Raj Yoga, meaning the highest practice of all the yogas, then this man would be so elevated, is so elevated, that of course we would see him there. So we give him the status, even though that isn't a real throne. So anyway, that's what this line talks about. So I'm going to sing this shabad and sing along with me. The words are there in the comments area, and then we'll see how far we get. And I just have to change the tablas, and I think that'll do.
Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Prit mein Nanak Chand Jagat Pyanand. Prit mein Nanak Chand Jagat Pyanand. Tar naam lok jan ki aparkas. Tar naam lok jan ki aparkas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Guru Angad Dhyan Dhan Akat Kataniyan. Guru Angad Dhyan Dhan Akat Kataniyan. Panch Bhut Pasin Jamat Nadras. Panch Bhut Pasin Jamat Nadras. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Guru Amar Guru Sri Sat Kal Jug Rakhi Pat. Guru Amar Guru Sri Sat Kal Jug Rakhi Pat. Agal Tikat Kat Charan Kamal Jas. Agal Tikat Kat Charan Kamal Jas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Raj Jog Takht Din Guru Ramdas. Sabidmanya manna Tamaya prachanda Raj jog takat dien Guru Ramdas 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 Guru Ramdas Guru Ramdas Guru Ramdas Guru Ramdas Raj jog takat dien Guru Ramdas Raj jog takat dien Guru Ramdas.
So I've taken a little longer to cover the shabad than usual, but let me just say I want to check the comments just to see if we have any questions. All right, well, I don't see any questions. But I'm looking at all your comments. Right. Yeah, so nice to have so many of you from around the world, from Latvia and from Canada and Sweden and UK, and the United States too. So very nice. So I want to let you know that I'm going to take a break in this series, starting the first week of August. So we will meet again on Thursday, but then next week I'll be off, and I'm not sure whether it'll be 2 weeks. It might be a little longer. So just keep your eyes on the lookout for any information about when we're starting back up. But I think I've mentioned this before, that I'm working on some ideas for some different approaches to these programs, and so that after this break, I hope to come back with this, but also other things. And so I'll be missing you in that time meeting here, and I know that some of you may feel the loss of that, and I hear you. But I need to take care of some things, and I also want to do some more planning so that we can offer you even more. And as you may notice in the bottom feed across the screen, on Friday of this week, we will have Hari Bhajan Kaur, who you may be familiar with in her recordings with Sat Hari Singh from Germany. They did, I think, a couple of recordings together that were beautiful. And she and her husband also play and tour together. He's a fine guitarist. And so they will be playing for us on Friday, and we'll be talking with them. So I want to thank you all for participating with your comments and presence. And so I wish you all the best. Hope to see you on Thursday and Friday. And be well, be safe, stay home if you can, and all blessings to you. Satnam. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.